Do you think there's a lack of straight talk?
Definitely.
Lack of honesty, perhaps?
When you talk about things to your friends,
Yeah.
and you can observe patterns within them, how many times do you observe a story that they continue to tell themselves just to continue that same cycle? And if they were able to give themselves a reality check,
Yeah.
how much different would that be?
You'll have to elaborate a bit more on that. I don't understand,
So
like...
you've got a friend. Their name is Henry. Henry tells himself each and every day, the reason why I don't meet someone is just because people don't get me.
Okay.
And I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm just going to accept that that means that I'm so great, but people don't get me. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to go anywhere different. I'm going to sit in my room and just continue this whole cycle of validating my own story. And so if Henry gave himself a reality check and said, you know what, the more that I consider myself to be an outcast, the more that I'm going to already judge everyone around me so that they don't actually see the real me.
Okay.
So I'm adding an initial step in between. And then I go the next step by already believing that that is so I don't go out. So I sit at home and nothing's ever going to change.
Right,
so if
okay.
Henry gave himself that reality check and said, maybe I should leave the house, maybe I should give people a chance, maybe I should stop judging everyone, and maybe I should realise that it all sits within me.
So it's kind of a self-fulfilled prophecy, really, that if I'm one way, then it's the world's problem. Which is, like, a lot of people, really.
It's the majority of people.
The majority, you think?
Yep, completely.
Is that a pessimistic view of the world, Todd Savvas?
No, but what it says is that you have absolute potential to change your life.
Oh, absolutely.
By realising that everything comes down to you.
It's about taking responsibility for your existence, really, and not...
Completely, and stop blaming everyone else. Stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming your boss. Stop blaming your next door neighbour. If you continue to blame people, you always become a victim, and then you never have any power. If someone's a victim, they don't have the ability to change their life, but if they've created everything in their life, then that means they can create something different.
Right.
And so that's the importance of a reality check, really.
I feel like that's just so obvious, though.
But then you can observe and consider that, but then do you see that some people just don't do it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think with responsibility comes compromise and change, and I think people are threatened by that, the majority. So I guess what that creates is this general premise where people aren't really living their truest life, and I think that creates like a kind of lack of consciousness in people.
So you said truest life. What do you think that means?
I believe that people have a fundamental purpose, that every single person has a skill or a set of skills.
A gift to the world.
Basically, a contribution. It may be on a creative level, it may be on a spiritual level, it may be on as much as having the most incredible rose bush on the street, you know, it's like just something really simple and inherent like that. And I feel that a lot of people that you just described really kind of avert from that. They don't actually recognize their kind of skill base. So basically we end up in this territory where people aren't really fulfilled, and it creates this greater kind of sadness amongst people. And I think it's okay to struggle in finding what your strength is, because it's better than the alternative. I've always believed that.
Well, you'll also see that for the majority of those people, they're trying to claim a skill that's someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So I observe that Brad Pitt is an amazing actor.
Okay.
And so suddenly that becomes my life skill or my life purpose or my destiny. So then I spend the next 8 years of my formative life going to acting lessons to become famous or to become something more than what I was. And so in that process of not loving who I really am, attempting to be someone who I'm not, you're never going to be anyone other than someone who's already disappointed yourself. So it continues this same cycle of never getting yourself out of anything and into something you were meant to be. And you're exactly right. The way that you described the concept of a gift or a skill is exactly correct. Everyone comes here with a specific designed gift. And that's the
Yeah.
reason why they're in the body that they're in, because it's necessary to be prepared to deliver that to the world, whether that's an idea or healing or poetry or art or gardening or whatever. The problem is too many people look at what they've got and they say, well, that doesn't look as exciting as
Yeah.
what Joe Blow down the street has. So instantly they hate what they've been given. There's no gratitude. So why would the universe give them more?
So it spawns an inferiority complex in the sense that what I have is not worthy, and hence I'm unhappy because of it. I feel like everyone's probably been through that though. Like I certainly have. Like I've certainly experienced points at which I've questioned what I feel like my purpose is in life. Would you be the same?
Totally. And there's nothing wrong with those moments. But then everyone has the opportunity to say, I'm not buying into that. And I'm going to actually do something with what I've been given.
Yep.
Or be confronted with someone else telling you, you know what you think you're really great at, you're not so great at it. And so in those moments, you have the opportunity to then say, you know what, I know me better than what you think you know me. And they're the moments when the universe gives you the opportunity to decide your own path.
So it's important to be criticised, essentially.
No, it's important to not care about good publicity or bad publicity.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a really interesting observation.
Because really, if you spend your whole life waiting for someone to say you're really good at something,
Yeah.
then how much is it going to affect you when someone says you're really bad at something?
Well, I think that if you've really tried to do something in your life, and I think I think you have to look at this in a very general sense. Like we're not just talking about someone becoming an actor or someone becoming a musician or someone becoming a philosopher. I guess it's more...
Oh, it's completely holistic. But really, when we look at it in any sort of capacity, whether or not that's baking a cake,
Yeah.
if Martha bakes a cake every day of her life and she thinks, this is what I'm great at.
Yeah.
And so every night when her husband comes home, she waits for that moment when he eats it and goes, oh yeah, darn good cake, I know why I married you.
Yeah.
In a lovely way. And then one day one of the neighbours comes over and says, oh yeah, you're really good at baking cakes, but not as good as Susan down the road. Immediately, there's this need to then judge one another against ourselves, and it's like, for what end? So it doesn't matter in what capacity it is, whether it's acting or whether it's whatever. We need to not be concerned about being the best at whatever. We need to just be the best ourselves.